everybody and welcome back. My name is Carrie and today I'm doing my December wrap-up. So in December, or the end of December, because if you'll recall I have switched states in between then. I went from North Dakota to Colorado to North Dakota again, but in the latter half of December and the first 3 days of January I have read 8 books. So let's get started. The first one that I finished was The Covenant by James Michener. This is a 1,200-page book about the history of South Africa, except it's the history of South Africa through the eyes of these 5 or so different families. You've got indigenous families, Boer families, English families, and they all come together and everything happens to them. I really enjoyed this book. It actually made its way onto my most thought-provoking and my best books list, which I will link those videos down below. The next one is All the Gallant Men by Dawn Stratton. This one also made my best books list. This is the first, and as far as I'm aware, the only memoir of the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941 from the point of view of a survivor who was on the Arizona. Again, like I said, loved this book. It is one of now 3 books that has ever made me cry, and with good reason. Pearl Harbor just has a very special place for me for an inexplicable reason, but I also got this book signed, so it has that much more meaning to me now. Next, I read the Seraphina trilogy by Robert Beatty. This includes Seraphina and the Black Cloak, Seraphina and the Twisted Staff, and Seraphina and the Splintered Heart. This series follows a 12-year-old girl at Biltmore Estate in North Carolina in about 1899, the end of. She discovers through the course of the books what friendship is. She doesn't really have any friends at the beginning and then gets a couple. She also finds out that she is a shapeshifter, and the story kind of goes from there. She has to protect Biltmore with the help of her new friends from this evil entity. It's definitely a bit of a paranormal read, which I was not expecting but was pleasantly surprised by. Because of that, if you are a seasonal reader, if you like to read spookier things around Halloween, then I definitely suggest this series for Halloween. It is also a middle grade novel or trilogy, so it doesn't take a whole lot of effort to read, but it did give me a word that I didn't know before, crepuscular, which apparently means pudgy, or some variation of that, so middle grade with great words. I also read Ink and Bone by Rachel Caine. This is a YA fantasy. It sort of has a dystopian feel about it, similar to Fahrenheit 451. The Great Library was created after the library in Alexandria was burned because they didn't want to lose any more knowledge. The library now controls the distribution of knowledge, so they collect every book they possibly can find, but nobody is allowed to own books anymore, not the way we think of them. Instead, you can only read what the library tolerates, basically, so the library controls everything. They own all of the hard copies of books, and book smuggling is a lucrative trade if you do it well and don't get caught. So the first one in the series starts out following these 30 or so kids who are trying to get jobs as members of the library. There are various jobs in this because it's basically a huge governmental entity. They go through trials and tribulations, there's wars all around, people are trying to change the library, people are trying to own books, and it's a big mess, but it's a really good book. Then the last one I read was Crucible of Gold by Naomi Novik. This is the 7th in her Temeraire series, which is during the Napoleonic Wars in specifically Europe for the first couple, but they end up going all over. And when I say all over, I mean Peru, Brazil, Australia, China, Africa, like just everywhere. So it starts out Lawrence is an officer in His Majesty's Royal Navy in the early 1800s, and his ship takes a French ship that is transporting a very valuable, rare dragon egg. The egg hatches and the dragon pops out and says, "Lawrence, I pick you." And Lawrence says, "Well, I don't have a choice then." So off he and Temeraire, the dragon, go to the Royal Dragon Air Corps, where a whole bunch of escapades ensue. Like I said, they travel everywhere, they fight Napoleon, and the writing is just very old feeling, but very modern in how quickly you can understand it. So I really love this book as well. I do want to finish the series. There are only 2 more books that I have to finish, and I'm hoping to be able to get them from my library since I am now back up in North Dakota and don't have access to my own copies anymore. Those are the 8 books I read in December. Again, a slightly modified version of December, But those are the books I read. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up down below. If you want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button down below. As always, I will leave my Goodreads. I will also link my best books of 2017 and my most thought-provoking books of 2017 videos down below if you want to check those out. I also did a review on The Covenant if you want to check that out, which I will also link below. No obligation. But I will see you soon with another video. Bye.